Hi everyone, it's my turn to do this presentation for 1.5 hours on the topic of mindfulness and brain spotting. And the reason that I was assigned to this topic is because Jom, our Thai colleague, asked me uh, what did I practice, and he assumed that part of my learning is about mindfulness. So I was asked by Nancy to do this with a good challenge, because when I start doing this, preparing for this presentation, I have three objectives in my mind. The first one is to kind of come back to the Western approach of mindfulness that's available in all of the internet and good books. So this will be the first part. I will try to brief on the mindfulness as we know it from the Western approach. Mm-hmm. And we will do some exercise and try to understand from our experience the subtle difference between different concepts in mindfulness from the Western literature. And the second one will be touched upon very briefly to go to the original one, what it's been described in the original text, which I refer back to the Buddhism concept. However, with this one, it's been much more than that, because I didn't read the Thai text much, because I found that the Thai text on mindfulness is very difficult to understand. But one that's circle around in Western world is more easier to digest. And that's usually will be presented by those who stay in the Western world. For example, Thich Nhat Hanh or a number of Tibetan Buddhist monks who speak and who teach about mindfulness. And this I will touch upon very briefly to see the difference between the mindfulness in the Western psychology concept and the mindfulness of the original, a little bit deeper and touch towards the spiritual development. But I will not go this into too much detail. And the last big part of today will be on the bridge between mindfulness and brain spotting. And I found that, wow, David's book is so mindfulness book. So I will present the key message from that book and do some exercise together. So this is my plan, and I have a number of slides that I will show to you from time to times, and the whole file can be shared with you in PDF format in case you want, but I still haven't got an idea how should I send that to you. Maybe I just put it in the chat box before we end, and I might kind of add or cut some slide according to the time we have. So this is a structure that I will talk to you today. And the first one that I would like to introduce to you is the definition that's been kind of used and referred to many times. And with this, I used to reference the MBSR workbook from the 1989. It's a practice of cultivating non-judgmental awareness in day-to-day life. And the other person that's is kind of authority in this field is John Kabat-Zinn. He used the definition, mindfulness is the awareness that arises by paying attention on purpose in the present moment and non-judgmentally. So with this definition, you will see that there are keywords in this. It's the present moment, awareness, non-judgmental, and on purpose. So with this, why mindfulness has been so popular my interpretation is that it starts from the research, the brain research, that show the benefits of mindfulness. And if you continue finding the benefit of mindfulness, there are lots of that. And I will just quote one from the same book in the MBSR, which is very old now, but it's still a lot and very attractive practice from MBSR has been proven. Before that, I would like to inform you that MBSR is the 8 weeks process practice and developed by John Kabat-Zinn to deal with patients who have chronic conditions. And it has been proved to be beneficial to them in different ways. And this is the brain study. It's thickening of brain regions associated with learning and memory, emotional regulation, the sense of self, and perspective taking. Amygdala was thinner. You know that this is a fear or emotional reactive brain region was thinner, and increased neuronal activity in brain network associated with embodied present moment experience. Decreased brain network activity associated with the self, the narrative network when we talk about I, me, mine. And reducing loneliness, expression of genes related to inflammation, and lowering an indicator of inflammation known as C-reactive protein. The last part is mean that overall the mindfulness practice help reduce the inflammation in our body system. So it changed many different things in our brain. It changed how we talk to ourselves, because usually we are in the thinking mode, talking to ourselves all the time, and they call this the narrative. And they have some other name, and it's part of the middle part of the brain doing that. But when they practice mindfulness, the different part of the brain have some more activities. And there are still more than these newer ones, but I just don't want to flood you with too much information. So overall, when there are proven that the mindfulness practice is beneficial, so it spread into different disciplines, not only in psychotherapy, but stress, depression, leadership development. So it's like the cornerstone. It is a popular, fashionable buzzword concept. So now that's the lecture part for the mindfulness. Now we will try to do 4 experiments together. I will do it successively, one by one. And I do hope you will, each exercise I will spend about 3 minutes for us to practice. Then we will reflect on what we experienced very briefly and slowing, going from one to the other to gain the direct experience of the mindfulness, as very well known in the Western world now. And the first one will be from the MBSR workbook. This is called the mental check-in. Please follow the I will describe the instruction first, check your understanding, then we will do it together. We will take a few moments to be still, feeling into your body and mind, simply allowing any waves of thought, emotion, and physical sensation to just be. The word just be is mean we don't try to do anything other than allow it to be as it is. And as you enter the world of being rather than doing, you may notice the trajectory of feelings that you have been carrying within yourself. This means that if you are doing something just before attending this this group, if you are doing something while listening to me, you will see that in your internal experience, the trajectory of feelings that you've been carrying with you, or you might think of something else and you can notice that. No need to judge, analyze, or figure things out. Just allow yourself to be in the here and now. Spend 3 minutes simply checking in with yourself this way. And this is what I would invite you to be with yourself for 3 minutes and see where it takes you. You can start doing this now, and I will start counting the time for you. Just feel into your body and mind and simply allowing any waves of thought, emotion, and physical sensation to just be. Now it's 3 minutes. So you can slowly come back and just congratulate yourself for doing this practice for 5 minutes. We now will spend a few minutes for reflection and Q&A in case you have any. If there is not, then we can go to the next exercise. Any reflections or comments or question? Observation that you might find how your mind is working. Thank you, Marianne, for putting the full term of MBSR. John, please.
Yes, I think it's kind of the good concept that we can use in daily practice, and the feeling that I have is kind of my body feeling that arising, boop 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 boop, something like that, which is good. But there are a couple of thoughts that coming up. For example, oh, should I look somewhere to find that I'm more mindful, because we brain spotting therapists, right? We want to to have the maximum feeling. So that my thought that, oh, let it go, and then, oh, should I say something after this? So I let it go as well. And another one I cannot remember. Should I pay attention on my breathing or not, but I just direct to the whatever feeling. So whatever how I body feel. So it's kind of a three kind of thought that come up, but it's all related with what we're doing. It's interesting. And another one that when you talk about in the beginning about theory about how brain change during mindfulness, I said, wow, because I noticed that because I think that the way that we do brain spotting with our client is kind of we practice mindfulness all the time and in daily basis already. So I feel grateful that every time that I work with a client, I practice mindfulness and my brain is changed in a positive direction that come from my my inside. I just want to hear your opinion about this as well.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, John. And yeah, it's 3 minutes that we learn a lot from our experience. Uh, uh, I would like to hear Marianne also, please, Marianne. I will not answer because I think this is like a reflection of your experience. Yeah, Marianne, please.
Yeah, so I've actually took this training many years ago, and I found in this 3-minute period it was torture because you didn't say it explicitly, but I was trying to keep my body still. And when I keep my body still, that becomes very activating for me in terms of trauma material. So then I have this urge to run, and I'm trying to just notice the urge to run, but it's very difficult. So that's what was coming up for me.
Thank you so much, Marianne. And I didn't say to be the physical stillness much. My understanding is that this is like we started to notice our body and mind as it is without trying to do anything. But I'm not sure the original one that you attend. This is my interpretation of this part. But thank you so much that these 3 minutes can kind of an open space that many things or everything can happen, and it reflects our inner experience that we might not be aware of before. Yes. And I saw Short Tip's hand, but now it's gone. It's okay. I think she's driving. You want to say something, Short Tip?
Oh, อาจารย์ค่ะ it was by mistake.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yep. So this is the first exercise. We open our observation. We observe what's going on in our mind and in our body without trying to do anything. It's the basic one. And we will see like the basic tone in our body and mind. So let's try the second exercise together. This second exercise has more component in it. It's called mindful breathing. I will describe to you the instruction, the steps to follow, and then we will practice that together. So we will start by taking a few slow, easy breaths to settle your body and mind. And let your eyelids gently close, fully or partially. It's a choice for you. And then explore your body with your awareness, where you can feel your breathing most easily. It can be around your nostril, or you can feel the cool breeze on the upper lip, or you can feel chest rising and falling, or you can feel your breath in the abdomen as the belly expands and contracts. Wherever you can feel your breath most easily, just be with that breathing, with that physical part of yours, that you can sense your breathing. Just feel the physical sensations of breathing in and breathing out, and be with it. And when you notice that your mind has wandered, just come back and feel the breath again. No need to control the breath. It means that let your breath go it naturally. Let your body breathe you as it does naturally. Don't worry how often your mind wanders. Simply return to the breath as you might redirect a toddler or puppy gone astray. When you finish, I will tell you that time we will gently open your eyes. You open your eyes. So this exercise, the difference is that we pay attention to our breathing. Stay with that and we observe. If our mind has going somewhere, then we bring back to our breathing. And we will do it for three minutes. And you can start by taking a slow and easy breath before you're closing your eyelids or partially close your eyelids. So with this exercise, any question to clarify the practice? If not, we will spend 3 more minutes to practice this together. And I will counting the time for you. Take your time. Now it's about 3 minutes. It's time for us to end this and we gently open our eyes and come back to do some reflection together. Any reflections or question? You can have and you can not have. At every exercise, I will open the time for us to discuss if you have any. So if not, I would like you to notice the difference between the first exercise where you kind of we kind of open the blank space. But this one we have put in one task, that is to focus, we pay attention to how our body felt when we breathe, and then we observe the wandering mind. So we are going to the third exercise of today learning. This time, it is the breathing with the counting, which is commonly practiced when we do the breathing exercise. So with this one, we will count a set of number to help guide the rhythm of your breath. We breathing in, we pause, and we breathing out. First round through nose. And I think for the time we have, I will just pick up two formula, the number formula. And then we will, I will guide you to this exercise. So just follow along. John has reflect back that he preferred the first one. Thank you. Kunsali also. I would like to hear that at the end of the 4 exercise. So for this one, we will intentionally put our breathing into some form of rhythmic, because we know that when we breathe out, it will stimulate the parasympathetic. So breathing out by itself has its calming effect. And also, you know the difference, the formula. So the first one, I would like to ask you to try. You breathe in and you count in your mind 1, 2, 3. Then you pause, you hold your breath and count 1. Then you breathe out and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can be 4 or 5, depends on how big your lung is. So I would like you to try it and see the difference. You breathe in, count 1 to 3, and you hold your breath, count 1, and you breathe out, count 1 to 4 or 5. Just try and see how you feel. And the speed of counting depends on your comfort feelings and your lung. So just go easy with that, even though we have this counting. And we breathe in with our nose and we breathe out with our nose this time. So I will give you half a minute to practice this and check your feelings. So please start practicing this. Okay, that's the first set of number. And sorry, Yusuf, I answer you a little bit late. If you have blocked nose, you can try through your mouth, even though breathing in with mouth is not healthy, and there is a medical explanation for that. So this is a rhythm, the first rhythm that usually it's easier, but there is a alternative alternative medicine doctor who is very well known. His name is Andrew Weil. He proposed another set of breathing rhythm. And he said that among all the health promotion activities, if he has to choose only one, he will choose this one, not exercise, but to know how to breathe. Yeah, I only, thank you, Marianne. His name is Andrew, but I'm not sure how we read his family name, Well or While. So he proposed to have another set of rhythmic breathing exercise. This time is 4, 7, 8. So you breathe in for counting 1 to 4, and you hold your breath counting 1 to 7. And then you're breathing out counting 1 to 8. In nose, out nose, except Yusuf, if you cannot breathe through your nose this time, you can breathe through your mouth. So let's practice, and I'll give you nearly 1 minute to do that. If it is too challenging, you can go back to the previous one, just a choice. So I will start counting the time for you. 4, 7, 8. Let's start. So it's about a minute now. I would like to end this part of 4, 7, 8 practice. And now you have to number formula between 3, 1, 4 and 4, 7, 8. And I would guess that you are experiencing it differently. You might have a kind of prefer formula to set the rhythm for your breath. And you might also be aware that this set is different from the one that we breathe naturally. Any reflections or comments on this? Angie, please.
Yeah, I'm so I'm so used to when I breathe out. Sorry, when I breathe out, I breathe out through my mouth. Breathing out, I breathe out through my mouth. So when we did the exercise, I felt a bit like it came naturally that I wanted to breathe out from my mouth. But for this exercise, I said, okay, let's just try breathing out through the nose. I felt a little bit uncomfortable, and then I sort of got used to it. So my question is this, is there a difference when we breathe out? Usually I feel more comfortable breathing out because that's my practice here. Opening my mouth, breathing out through my mouth. Breathing in is no problem through the nose, but breathing out is usually through my mouth. So is there a difference between breathing out through the nose or breathing out through the mouth?
Thank you for
Thank you.
this. Thank you so much, Angie. If I have time, usually I will add another layer of another part of practice that I will give my group a different formula, 3, 4 formulas, and let them pick one that they like. Then they test the difference between breathing out through nose and breathing out through mouth, and just pick the one that they like best. That's my usual approach for the group that I share with this However, if we want to know the difference between breathing out through nose and breathing out through mouth, it reminds me of two sources of information. I would like to mention the one that is the Qigong practice. And if you learn Qigong, you will know that there are subtle detail, more detail for that to cultivate Qi inside. Not only we breathe in with our nose and we breathe out with our mouth, through our mouth, we also will touch our lung, the tongue up to the upper palate. And we also squeeze a little bit our anus, right? This is to make the Qi pathway can flow better. So when I was learning the Qigong, I found that breathing in through nose with my tongue touch my upper palate and my anus squeezed lightly. When I breathe that Qigong breathing in mouth, out mouth, I can feel the energy flowing much more powerful. And I don't know why is that. I only know that this is our system. So it's like the ancient knowledge that we have it here around this region. So if I practice Qigong or Tai Chi, I will use this breathing in nose, out, mouth. But on my daily life, I use the nose, especially if I eat garlics or some herbs. I will not breathe out through my mouth. So this is what I can share for you, Angie. You have any add-on? No, okay. So you can find the number, and there are many kind of number to set the rhythm. It can also be 4-4-4-4. You're breathing 4, you pause 4, you breathe out 4, and you pause 4 before you breathe in again. So this different kind of formula is not a mindfulness practice, but it can help you to be grounded if this is the approach that helps you ground. But as Marianne has shared with us, sometimes the simple exercise that we think is simple might be aggravating or activating for some persons. For example, the one with 4-7-8, I would guess that someone might feel the sense of body response to have to hold that breath for some times, which can be triggering. But for some, they might observe that the period of holding the breath is actually helping their mind to focus better. So it's like we are learning the basic activity of our body, the breathing. We can learn a lot about this simple activity that we usually don't pay attention to, the breathing. Different form of breathing does affect differently on our body and mind. And it actually the effect differently on our brain too. I would check any. Angie said, yes, I learned this type of breathing in kinesiology. Didn't know it came from Qigong. Yeah. It's like many yoga posture has been modified into the movement and the treatment of back pain or many pain. The stretching, many posture in stretching, I can see its root in yoga. It's like the ancient wisdom that's been for many people to kind of take something and develop on their own and for their own package. John said, I feel more surrender and relaxed when I exhale through mouth. Wow. And you can feel the subtle difference when you breathe out through nose and through mouth. And I found that if I check this with a group of people, a little bit more than half prefer breathing out through mouth, but nearly half, just less than half, a little bit, still prefer breathing out through nose. And Marianne said pranayama yoga breath practice has breathing practice in out through the nose, holding the in breath, pausing before breathing in again. And you know, also there is a practice that you're breathing in through one nostril and you're breathing out through another nostril. This is also the yoga practice. And at the beginning, you use your finger to help close the other one. If you are not serious about how to hold your finger, you can try it, breathing in through one nostril. Any formula or no formula at all? And breathing out through another nostril. Now, if you practice this for a while, you don't have to use your hand, but you pay attention. When you breathe in, you feel one side of your nose, the nostril on your left, for example. And you breathe out through another nostril, and see the difference on your experience of your body or your breathing. Marianne, please.
Yes, I just want to add, that's a great description. For our purposes in brain spotting, when we are using alternate nasal breathing, which is, this ancient yogic practice, it recenters the left and right hemispheres of the brain. So it can be quite calming to people who find other breathing practices challenging.
Marianne, do you mean the one you described in, not the one you just put in the chat, right? The how to breathe.
Right. This is what I didn't write in there is alternate nasal breathing. So it's holding the nose on one side, breathing in for a certain count, then holding both nostrils for a count, and then you breathe out through this alternate nostril for the count that you decide, let's say 4, and then you have a pause, and then you breathe in again, let's say through the right nostril. So it's breathing in, holding, breathing out through the other nostril, holding, breathing in again. And as I said, for people with panic attacks in particular, it can be quite calming. A lot of these breath practices can bring up feelings, which for many people is wonderful because it brings up lovely feelings. But for people who are phobic of their bodies, it brings up terror. And they may not understand what that's about. So
Thank you so much, Marianne. I would like to ask you a little bit more. So you are saying that you use your finger to help control the side of the nostril that we breathe. We're breathing in through one side, and we hold that by holding the nose. Then we're breathing out to the other, and then we hold that. Is there any number formula for this practice? Or
I was taught breathing in 4, holding 4, breathing out 4, holding 4, but I'm not so sure the number really matters.
Yes, thank you. And the other thing is that when you breathe in through your left nose and you hold that and you breathe out through your right nose, when you breathe in again, do you breathe through your right nose and you hold and you breathe out through your left nose?
Actually, I think you may be right about that. I think I've been doing it wrong. I think the way that I'm just going to try it. Yes, that's right. Yes, as you're saying.
Okay. So it's quite similar to the yogic breathing, right?
Yes, form of yoga.
Okay, thank you so much. And I think what you just told us is like this is another exercise that it can integrate, right? The stimulating of the left brain and right brain, because the body side of the sensory that we feel on the left side and on the right side, we alternate that. And it helps brain integration. This is your key message, right? Okay, thank you so much. So Angie said, yes, it makes great sense because we are engaging the right and left hemisphere of the brain, leading to bilateral integration and parasympathetic system. So Kimika, please.
My question was, is there a matter that you're breathing into chest or belly?
Oh, I
Or
see.
does it matter?
There, for the practice of discounting, it doesn't matter. But when I check with people who are breathing, and usually we know that the breathing that's deep and relaxed will go to the abdomen more. So if we find that we usually breathe at the chest level, it usually means there are some tension or the habitual pattern of this tension that make our breathing is not as efficient as our body system has been designed. Because when we breathe through our chest, we are using the chest muscles. Between the lips, there is a muscles. And when you breathe with our chest, we use this muscle, which is partly, it's actually the voluntary muscles. It's like the muscle in our hands. So it's kind of energy consuming. And it also didn't make use of another smooth muscle at the diaphragm level. The diaphragmatic breathing is a natural process. It's moved by the smooth muscle that cannot be controlled directly from our intention. But it will move by itself. It's the automatic system. So our breathing has two systems to control. One is the basic rhythmic through the diaphragmatic. The other one is from our intercostal, the muscle of the chest. The more efficient way and more relaxed way is to breathe using the diaphragmatic breathing. But for some people, they cannot breathe to the abdomen. So in this case, usually lying down will help us feel better to breathe through our abdomen. There are a number of practice that we can learn to breathe diaphragmatically. But in general, we try to lessen our fight or control with that breath. And I also find that when you lengthening the breathing out, usually you will feel some that the breath is down to the abdomen. But this might have to be individualized for different people. But if you want to try, you can try lying down and check whether you can feel the abdomen more. This is the message that I can think of. Marianne, please.
So with that practice, Prawate, here, I would get people to lie down flat and then put a heavy book on their belly so that then they can feel it rise. So that's one thing. The other thing is, think about what happens if you cut your finger. Right? We want to, our breath stops and we sort of squeeze our finger because we're trying to stop the pain. This is what happens. I know this isn't a trauma thing, but it's important. People who have trauma, it's stored in the body. And so when you ask them to do some of these breathing practices, their breath is very shallow, maybe up here almost in their throat. So and it may be very difficult for them to breathe more deeply. Okay, so it's a process of noticing and being very, very gentle, because the breath will release feelings. And we just want to make sure the people we're working with have some support while they're doing that.
Thank you so much, Marianne. It's a well-known knowledge that when people are under stress, even though they has not been traumatized, they also breathe more up to the chest. So when we practice this, we can make use of the body feeling to kind of monitor if we are getting stressed by checking in with our body. And on the opposite side, when you are aware of your breath that is shortened or it's up to your chest, you can intentionally breathing out longer and move down your breathing through your abdomen. Then you will feel better and calmer. So it's two sides. You can make use of it as a monitoring signal from your body, or you can also intentionally shift how you breathe, and it will create that calmness of mind that bring you back. I hope this answer you, Kimika, and I would like to go on with my plan. And okay. This will be the end for the breathing exercise, and I would like to open the space for us to see, do you notice any difference between these three exercises? You have any idea or kind of observation that you want to discuss? And don't worry about the time. We will finish at the time schedule, and I will go as far as I can, but I don't think we should rush with this. So any comments or observation that you have with these three different exercise? Piriya, please.
Yeah, for me, it's a very good exercise, especially it's very simple and it practically put into the daily practice because it's a very short time. And my experience is that I connect more to my body and realize the area of the body where the breath is difficult to go through. So there might be something there. And the second thing that I learned is that when I connect to my body, it's allowed more space for the experience that flow into. For me, it took me back in the young experience because I have lived with this body for all of my life. This is the moment that I'm the youngest in my life. So, and the body contains a lot of experience. So a lot of memory come true, and I experience self-compassion and also merciful. So it's a really, really spiritual experience in a way that is also relaxing. So thank you for the exercise.
Thank you. And this reminds me of another practice of breathing that you can try to breathe throughout your body, and it will create another different experience. And there is a practice that we breathe in through one part and we move down and we circulate all, and it will create another kind of experience. And we can check with that if there is any difficulties in flowing our breath throughout our body. I practice that sometimes, yeah. And I like the reflection that you find some part of your body that's more difficult. Thank you so much. John, please.
I think it's very good to practice many type of mindfulness exercise, because I know that what I prefer, number one, number two, number three, something like that. So it's remind me that people different, and then people might tune in to one specific exercise that they feel good, because as we we went to temple when young, and or we practice some meditation before, especially the follow the breath, which is I don't I don't like it. I feel my mind wander, and I feel like more like being control and restrict. So that I don't feel good with. I feel okay, but not as good as the first one, that like let anything that arising or happen and follow the body feeling, something like that. And for me, if I combine with the brain spotting some spot, it good for me. So that my still number one now. But the second one that today I felt that, oh, it's interesting, is breathing through one nose, one side of nose. I think I feel it different. The first one more freedom, more relaxed, but this one more connect. I don't know. I will practice more. So this, that number one, and number two that, and number three maybe like box, the number 4, 7, 8. Yeah, it's interesting as well. The rest I'm not don't feel connect much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. I actually have a message in the slides for you, but I will check. I will show you later. Kimika, please.
Thank you, Dr. Praveen, that you show really good information for us, and it's really, really useful. For me, the first one is much easier to access. It's like I can feel my body more, and I can feel the breathing. But the second and third one is like I feel like I'm more focused on counting, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and more focused on my breathing than my body. Actually, I don't feel my body at all. I mean, so whole time I just like very carefully counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. So I'm not so sure that is the intention to do that, or I actually did the wrong way, and or I just not get used to that. How much time I need to switch. And the other things that for the second practice, my experiences was when I use the single one to breathing, and I feel like panic a little bit. Like I can't breathe in the air, and I feel like well, I'm not really going to that stage, like panic stage, but I can feel there's a anxious come out. Yeah, so I don't really like a second one. But the third one is I notice I'm just focused the numbers than other. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your sharing. At least I think what we experience is like the information that our body send to our awareness, and we can make use of this information. And yeah, thank you. Jane, please.
Hi, I want to say too, I just really appreciate this. I find it all so fascinating. Just to share a little bit from my experience, I find actually through my whole life, I have been very activated by pretty much any breathing activities. And even as a therapist, when I teach others, I find that I can't do it myself without finding some degree of activation. But the alternate nostril breathing is one that I've several years ago had found and was able to do. However, the holding part was still activating. And so just doing breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out has been helpful. So just to share that for whatever, as we work with people finding those things that work for them. I really appreciate different people sharing, because it is so cool. We tend to think what works for me will work for you, and that's not always true. I will share, I made the connection that the reason that breathing was activating for me was because of a lifelong of head injuries. and trauma to the brain. And so I find that interesting with this connection of just how trauma affects the brain, whether it's physical trauma or emotional trauma. And last year, I had the opportunity to go to a specialized clinic to treat concussion injury, and they really focused on breathing as one of the things, one of the parts of the treatment. And I couldn't do it for the week that I was there. It was too activating. And so they just had me focus on elongating the exhale. But then when I got about 6 months out of treatment and other things were correcting in my brain, they said, okay, it's time, you have to push through and you have to work on the breathing because that heals the brain. And so I'm actually wearing it now. They gave me a breathing belt that wraps the whole way around your diaphragm. I don't know if you can see it, but before, when I thought of diaphragm breathing, I thought of my belly, and I was trying to force air down too low. And they said, like you described, Ajahn Prawate, the focus is on the diaphragm, not so low on the belly, and even the sides and the back. And so for 2 weeks, I wore this belt on and off and focused on the location and then elongating my exhale. And it was so activating, it was almost unbearable. And my levels of carbon dioxide and oxygen were being changed. There were times my lips were purple. It was crazy. But after I got past that 2 weeks, now I find, like today, I can practice all of these methods that you just taught, and they are relaxing to me. And so just a testimony to how the brain can heal, and how breathing exercises can be so powerful.
Thank you so much, Jane, for this sharing. And I actually would like to try that belt, but I think we are too far apart. But it's very true about the breathing as the fuel of the brain. I would like to add here, but before that, I would like to say that Angie sent you a message. Thank you, Jane, for sharing the experience. That's very helpful to know. Thank you, Jane. And Marianne said also heart math, sending the intention of breathing into the heart and breathing out from the heart creates coherence between heart and brain, and the website HeartMath. Thank you, Jane, for sharing, and happy for you that you are happier with breathing now. And you know that in terms of fuel, the energy source of our body come from two sources. One is our breathing, the oxygen. That the basic energy production in our body has oxygen. And the other part is from our food. It's blend and create energy. And the brain is the most energy consuming organ of our body. So I hope that Jane's sharing might inspire those who have difficulties in the breathing, that we might have to find some way that's suitable for us, that we can breathe more efficiently, because it's our basic energy system. And also, from John's mention, I would like to share 2 slides about what I prepare. And in case some of you mentioned this, is the difference between when you have to pay attention to something like the breathing, and you open your experience to anything that's happening. It gives us different benefits. So now I'm sharing with you, and I have my plan how I would end this. And I'm thinking of having a second session. Maybe I will talk to Nancy about, I would like to have more time, one more session with this. So I will find a way to finish this one in the congruent way. So now I would like to show to you the slides that I will. No, not this one. Not this one. Here. This is the 2 slides that I would like to share with you. There are actually 3 kinds of meditation under the mindfulness meditation in the West. And actually it's quite similar to the Thai people or those who practice. So we have this focused attention or the concentration meditation. I will describe more detail. And we have open monitoring or the insight meditation or vipassana meditation or mindfulness meditation. These tools are very common for Thai people to know the samatha and vipassana. Samatha, you are concentrate for the single object of attention. For vipassana, you opening up to every kind of experience. And also the one that's more popularized in the West is the loving kindness and compassion meditation. And in the West, they found that the mental skills cultivated from these 3 kind of meditation represent overlapping practice, but it have a distinct brain process. And actually it has different body and mind experience. For the concentration meditation, we cultivate a calm, unruffled mind. Mind is drawn to a single object, such as the breathing. So in the second exercise that we have, asking you to pay attention to your breath and observe when your mind is going somewhere, then you bring back. That is actually a form of concentration meditation through breathing. Because concentration meditation can make use of any objects for concentrate. And mindfulness meditation is to develop insight into our personal conditioning and how the minds work. We haven't reached that part of the learning yet, but it cultivates equanimity in the midst of random and unexpected life events. And I would like to explain this a little bit more. In the first exercise, we just be mindful of everything that's happening, our body sensation, the thoughts and the mind, the feelings. And we kind of open the space for our observation without trying to do anything. And for most of people would like this, prefer this experience because it's more, less restrained for us. But the second exercise, we start to do the concentration elements into that. And this concentration is difficult because it's not going along with our habitual mental process. It forces us to focus onto one thing, such as breathing. And we have to balance between paying attention to that without trying too much. Because when we try too much, it's too stressful. But if we don't try it at all, we go somewhere. So the concentration meditation is a way to learn how to focus. In the practice, those who know how to pay focused attention will increase their ability to be aware of their wandering. Because usually we don't know when our thoughts are wander somewhere else. So in the Thai practice, we know that the level of your mindful practice will depend on the level of your skills in concentration. But you have to know which is difficult for the beginner. But for this group, as we explore from our experience, we know that sometimes when we have to force something in our mind, we kind of don't like that experience much. But along the way, it will create another process within our brain. And concentration meditation is what most people practice because it can create a very calmness of mind if we learn that slowly. And actually, I think I will add a brief exercise for us that might be gentle for you to learn the difference between when you pay attention to one thing or when you don't pay attention, but you're just being mindful of everything. So these two are the kind of the balance that if you want to learn, you might try this. But this is outside the brain spotting context. And my plan at the beginning was to integrate that into the brain spotting context. But I think we don't have time for that today. I would like to finish my the loving kindness. The loving kindness part of meditation is actually what most Thai people practice in daily life without knowing it. It's to bring the quality of tenderness, soothing comfort, ease, care, and connection. Particularly important when we are dealing with difficult emotions. We have the word translated into English, may I be safe, may I be happy and free of suffering. This is the kind of planting the seeds of goodwill towards ourselves. And we also have the prayer statements to wish to goodwill towards others. And if you are the one who practice prayer every day, you will know that this is what we did when we finish, every time when we finish praying. We have a part of our prayer every night to read this mantra or the words about compassion for ourselves and loving kindness for ourselves, and sending what we did good to other people, the animals, the beings around the world. That's what we practice every day already. But it had been popularized in the West up to the point that there is another section on loving kindness and the compassion practice. So this is what I'd like to add from Jom's comment about, and many other people comments on the difference between the first, the second, and the third. Any reflections from this? If not, with the time being, I will tell you my plan, and I will tell you my original plan and my plan now with the 15 minutes we have at the moment. Let me plug in my computer. My original plan is that I will introduce to you another exercise, and I think we still have time for that. And this will end the first part of the mindfulness. The second part, I will talk about the original concept, where for the Buddhist mindfulness practice is the path to be enlightened. So learning about this breathing and really know about this deeper and deeper is the pathway to be enlightened. Just the breathing. As we know that this 1 hour that we learn many things from the breathing, but we have so much to learn about breathing only. So I plan to describe to you the difference between what we practice so far and what is the path lie ahead if you want to go further. And that's just to mention it briefly. And the last part will be, I quote many parts of BrainSpotting book that David mentioned subtly or very straightforwardly about mindfulness in BrainSpotting. But I think for today, I would try the fourth exercise together briefly, very briefly. Then we will conclude today session. And the fourth part that I plan for us, this one, it's the mind-body movement. So I will demonstrate, and I would like to ask you to follow the practice, and then notice your experience while you are practicing that together. I will plan to spend about 7 or 8 minutes and have 5 minutes for discussion before we end today. So I will spotlight myself. This will be a simple exercise of the somewhat like yoga. It's stretching movement, and usually we will combine it with the breathing. So we start by coming back to our body, and we bring our head, the ears to this shoulder, this, and feel your body, and breathe in and out like your preferred method. Then we bring out our hand straight like this, but don't down. It will create more feelings of our body. Stay here for 1 or 2 breaths. Then we take our hand down and we take our neck back to the straight, upright. Feel how you feel in your body. Then you move your head to the other side, your ears to the shoulder, and feel your body. Then you hold your hand on the opposite side and stay here for a few more breaths. And then you take your hand down and your hand upright. Now you come back this side again. This time we will move down slowly and move up the other side. Feel your body when you move. Try not to force, just move that part of your body and feel how your feelings in your body, and move back a few times slowly. One more round. Combine it with the breathing. For example, when you move this way, you breathe in or out. And when you stop, you wait, hold your breath. Then we move the other way, you breathe in or out. For example, from me, I'm breathing in. Now I'm breathing out. Breathing in, for me, you find your own rhythm, and you're breathing out. Now come back. Now you place your hand like this, and you breathing in up, like you are trying to touch the ceiling, and as far as you can. And feel it in your body. You breathe here, you stay here and breathe in and out for a few times. Imagine like you are trying to bring your hands up to the sky as far as you can, but not too much. And breathe in and out. And if this is not too much for you, you can try to look up at your convenient angle, up to the back of your hands, and stay here and breathe in and out for a few more times. Then you take your head back and you slowly bring your hand down. Feel your body when you take your hands down. Feel the subtle difference of your feelings in your body. And even when you place your hands down to your thigh, you can also feel in your body. There's still some sensation that we can be with that. And last one will be, you place one of your hand, for me it's right hand, on your knee, right knee. Then you slowly move down to your right chin towards your right ankle as far as you can, but not too uncomfortable. Go as far as you still feel comfortable, and stretch a little bit only. Then you raise up another hand, up straight, like you are trying to touch the ceilings. So for me, the left hand is trying to touch the ceilings. The right hand is trying to touch at the ankle. And try to place both buttocks on the chair, not to let one side tip up. And if it's still okay for you, try to look to the hands that you put into the ceiling, touch the ceiling. Raise your hand to that side. Now, slowly bring your hand and neck back, and slowly bring your body back to the sit straight. Feel in your body. How are your body experiencing? The other side, we use the other side of our hands. Move it from the knee. For me, I use my left hand on my left knee. Then I move down towards my left ankle, up to the point that I feel stretched enough. Then I use my right hand up. And I look up to my right hand and take a few breaths. It might be not comfortable as when we are lying down, but learn how to breathe in this difficult posture. Then we take our head down, take our hand back, and sit. And now you still can feel the flowing or the sensation in your body. And with that, this is the time I have for this part of the practice. Usually I will spend half an hour to 1 hour for this kind of exercise with myself. And it helped me a lot through 30-something years that I have been living with this. So now we are finishing this exercise, and I would like to open the floor for all of us. And you can share what you were experiencing with this exercise. You can also compare it with the first 3 exercises. What's the difference? Angie, please.
Yeah, I felt very relaxed. I was yawning all the time. For me, that's very, very relaxed. It was interesting when you asked us to bend our head backwards. That one, when I came back to the straight position, that one I felt very, very, very grounded. The others I felt relaxed, I felt sleepy, relaxed. That one I felt very grounded when I put my head back. So I'm wondering what was it? Yeah, very grounded. The last one, it's what you said about, do you feel things moving within you? Yeah, I felt like there was a flow around my body inside, yeah. So that was what I was experiencing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angie. And I think every message or sensation that we learn is really reflects something about ourselves. And we can make use of that, even though we don't know the research of it. I approach this with myself too.
I thought you would know about why this one I felt so grounded when I
Well, I have some hypotheses, but I wouldn't want to kind of ruin your direct experience of that. John, please.
Yes, I feel very aware of my body energy shift with the last exercise. I think it's very good, and I feel like calm, relaxed, but energized at the same time. It's kind of my energy is integrate for some reason. Yes, and I also thinking about mindfulness. I know brain spotting that some of our client they don't feel body felt so much. The last exercise might yeah, maybe the beginning of our session with a client that who not cannot feel what happened in the body. So it just came up from your presentation is very good today and make me think about brain spotting as well. I can't wait for the next session that you're going to provide for us. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And there is another message before I end today. And as we know that this is like about half of what I prepare, the first part of the mindfulness. And I think from the direct experience, we know the subtle difference between different forms. And actually, it's been known for more than for this part actually is more than 2,500 because it's beyond that. A good friend of mine and a good teacher named Marianne also remind me of one thing. That is the challenge of practicing mindfulness for a group of people, because there's been a re-traumatized experience for those who practice mindfulness in a very intensive way. And Marianne introduced me to a book named Trauma Sensitive Mindfulness. And with that book, I learned that right now when mindfulness is very popular in the West, people who joined the practice started to experience some were triggered by the practice. Even John Van der Kolk, who wrote the book on Body Keeps Score, also mentioned about practicing yoga in the regular way is not suitable for people who have trauma experience. So when we are trying to bring this practice to people, we have to be careful that not everyone will experience their body, their mind the same way we are experiencing. So with this book, they propose 5 strategies if you want to practice the mindfulness or teaching the mindfulness for people who has been traumatized. And I actually prepared some for today at the end of the Western concept, mindfulness. But I haven't finished the first part yet. But thank you all for the time with together. And Marianne also has. Oh, Chanida said, I love today's session so much. Thank you for putting this talk together. And Marianne said, thank you, Prawate. This was a wonderful session. So important to have folks share the experience of for practice uplifting. Oh, thank you so much. So I will finish this, and thank you all for all the joining and sharing. I will negotiate with Nancy to find time for the second part of this presentation as I have planned. And thank you for all the hearts. And next month also we have it will be Alan's presentation, and I think we don't have any after that. So I will propose myself to take the time after that. So I end, and thank you everyone. See you next month with Alan's presentation. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.